Good morning. Today is Thursday, June 25th, and we will be looking at the 25th chapter of Matthew, commonly known, at least by me, as the judgment chapter, the chapter of the great judgment passage, Matthew 25. It is, most of the chapter is parables. The first parable is the parable of the 10 bridesmaids, where we have the story of the 5 that stayed awake, had enough oil, trimmed their lamps, and did what they should, so that when the bridegroom came and the rest of them were asleep, they had to run out and get some more oil, and they missed the wedding. So again, this idea of watchfulness, that was really in chapter 24 as well. And then the parable of the talents. If you remember the parable of the talents, it's the one where the man was going on a journey, and so he left his slaves in charge of each of them of a talent. And one of the slaves buried the talent in the ground, and the others did one did some conservative dealings with them, another did a more risky dealings with them. And so when the master returned, there was rewards for those who had grown their talents, who had developed more talents from the talents that he was given. He wanted them to be invested rather than just buried in the ground. And so that was the lesson from that, is what you have been given by the master, which is what we have been given as human beings, should be shared and not buried, because you're going to be called to account for what you did with what you were given. And so that's the 2 parables in the beginning. The third part of this starts with verse 31, and this really is the judgment passage. This is the passage, Matthew 25:31 through 46, I think, where that is where Jesus says, the sheep and the goats, and then he says, when I was sick, you visited me and you took care of me, and when I was in prison, you visited me, and when I needed clothing, you gave me clothing. When I was a stranger, you welcomed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink, and when I was hungry, you gave me food. And they said to him, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or naked? And he says, when you've done this unto the least of these my brothers, you've done this unto me. Basically saying that everyone in the world is Jesus' family, and they all mean something to Jesus. And if you do this to these, then you've done it to me. And you've expanded your heart and your understanding. You've included people first. And then through that inclusion and the way you've treated people with kindness, you can transcend. We see that in terms of like your eternal punishment or eternal reward. But I really think that the kingdom of heaven is here and now, and that Jesus wanted us to understand that we wanted to start being sheep now, not goats, and that we wanted to live in this understanding of including the hungry, the thirsty, the naked, the imprisoned, the sick into our realms, and to welcoming them in order for our own spiritual transcendence to happen. It makes me think about, especially the part about the sick, about who is getting sick in our county right now. And the newspapers are saying that it really is the poor who are doing those essential services that we all rely on and need, preparing our food and picking the crops. There's various things that the working poor are doing, and they're getting sick from this virus because of the communal living situations, because of the working conditions. And we love our neighbors by staying home, but how can we think about ways to expand our love beyond people that have the same advantages and the same opportunities and the same lifestyles that we do, to the folks that are suffering and getting sick because of the work that they do and the way that they are forced to live. So just a thought as we look into Jesus' teaching on judgment. God bless you.